Well, we're back with the iPhone 14 Pro, and we're going to do an in-depth look at video and photo, and we're going to compare it to the iPhone 11. Now, I know that you wish I was comparing to an iPhone 12 or an iPhone 13, but you will still get an iPhone 11, as I said in my previous video. So, without further ado, let's compare the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 14 Pro for photo and video, daytime, and that elusive dark that no one's showing you. Well, I got something in the mail to go for my phone. A new shiny case. I got the Apple Clear case because I wanted to show that deep purple color through. Now, be aware, the case is a little bit slippery and I have roughed up the side a bit just so I got a bit better grip. But yeah, I really like the case, and the bump out on the case allows you to set it down without the lenses actually hitting the surface, which is a bonus. All right, let's just jump right into this versus me babbling on. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to compare some video. We're going to do some walking. How is the stabilization? I'm going to do the stabilization on. I'm going to do the stabilization off. Just before we get into the testing, look at the little rig that I did. It's holding both phones. I've got them aligned as best as I can. There is a bit of a height difference because unfortunately my brackets are a little different. Now, I'm just running the audio as it was from the phone. Unfortunately, it was super windy, so I apologize for the wind noise, but it shows you the inherent problem of the smartphone and wind noise. Both side by side so you can see what's going on. Walking, no stabilization. The walk with stabilization on. Walking, stabilization. Okay, now that we've had a look at the walking without stabilization, the walking with stabilization, how well do they hold up when we do some running? Here are the two clips side by side, and you can see a massive difference. Running, no stabilization. Now let's have a look at me running with the stabilization turned on. Running, stabilization. Massive difference between the two. Okay, we've seen some walking and some running footage, stable and non-stable. Let's check out what it's like vlogging between the two, between the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 14 Pro. I'm going to do some daytime, I'm going to do some low light, and then I'm going to do some super dark, and let's see how well it holds up through all those different light changes. So I'm just going to run all these little clips of me vlogging throughout the day. Looks pretty good. The colors look pretty good. I know when I get into a backlit situation that the iPhone 14 far exceeds the iPhone 11. Let me just have a spin around and I'll show you what happens. Look at the difference that comes in on the iPhone 11. I tend to get washed right out. So there you go. See, when I come back in, it doesn't correct back out again. That's the difference. The iPhone 14 does. This is vlogging with the cell phones. After sunset, vlogging test. Here we are. It's probably about 15, maybe 20 minutes after sunset, and we're just doing a little bit of vlogging. I'm using the front facing, the selfie camera again, and I didn't click on anything. I'm letting it pick focus where it wants. I'm letting it set color where it wants, but by looking at the screen, the iPhone 11 is definitely increasing and burning out the sky, where the iPhone 14 Pro seems to be keeping the sky more in a better detail, and it's not burning out like the iPhone 11's doing. Here we are testing some vlogging again in low light. I've come into the park more, into the trees where it's really sheltered. The sun has already set. I'll swing back. You can see here that the sun is below the horizon line, although the cell phones are telling me it's bright back there. It's not as bright as it appears. So this is kind of a low light test. We'll do some after it gets dark, and we'll see how they compare to each other. Vlogging after dark, I can see both cameras are hugely compensating for the dark. We'll see how this is for noise, but this is a good test between the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 11 14 Pro in dark conditions, and we can check the sky and back for noise later. But this is what it's like vlogging basically in the dark. I am getting a bit of light from the street lights along the path, but on the whole, it's pretty dark here for these kind of cameras. Now, with all that said and done, let's have a look at some video footage from about the golden hour until after dark, and we'll do a side-by-side on these so you can see the difference between the two. Low light stabilization test. Dark video testing. No stabilization. Well, there you go. That wraps up the whole video section. Now, I will tell you, try and watch it on the biggest screen you possibly can so you can see the inherent problems within it. Now, that last video shot after dark, it looks pretty good because they're small. If you saw that full screen, they are mushy. They are both very, very noisy, but on that small size, they look pretty good. So as I say, try and see it on the biggest screen you possibly can, and you will see there's a lot of noise and artifacting as the sun went down because the sensor in these is very tiny, and that's where the smartphones fall down compared to a mirrorless or DSLR. That's why I want to show you the after dark stuff, because that is where the problems lie and I want you aware of it. Now, we've done the video. Now let's have a look at photos. What I'm going to do first is I'm just going to show you, because the iPhone 11 only has 2 lenses, wide and normal, and the iPhone 14 has 3. So I won't compare because I can't compare. I'll just do the 2 lenses. So here are the wide and normal lenses so you can see, and I'm going to include 100% crop with each so you can see if there's problems. Pause the video and check it out. All right, so that was not quite sunset, so it was bright out, and cell phones like light. They need light to get that quality. If you want to get the best quality out of this, you need to shoot Apple Pro RAW at 48 megapixel. Then post-process it and you will get the best quality image. Now, in the previous video when I did the unboxing review, I showed some 48 and 12 megapixel from the Apple Pro RAW. You can check that out. I'm not showing it in this one. I'm focusing on what more people are going to be doing, and that is basically just shooting the JPEG. So we've looked at the lenses. Now let's have a look at portrait mode, bunch of images with 100% crop from both, going from bright light till right after dark. All right, now you can see where problems start to lie in that lower light. The next thing that I want to show you is the difference between portrait mode and non-portrait mode. Now I'm just going to show you some basic general images that I did from kind of a lower light up until real dark, again with the crops. All right, so that was a good in-depth look at the capabilities for video and the capabilities of photo. That is typically what people are going to be using. If you're using the Apple RAW for photo, you can have photos up to like 100 meg chewing storage. but the best quality. If you're doing the Apple Res, the high quality video, those files get massive. But again, the best quality. If you want to use those, go ahead. I was just showing what the average person is going to do and showing you what the results are and a comparison, the generation differences between it. So there you go. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you're aware when I post new videos. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help me out. So until the next time.